Welcome to NSDC STAR program. Eos Edu Ventures, in collaboration with Government of India's National Skill Development Council, is delivering STAR training program. In this program, you will learn various aspects of retail industry, which will prepare you for a possible chance of recruitment with national and international retailers, and also help you earn vocational skill certificate from the Government of India.
Welcome. Today we will learn on how to display stock inside the retail store. I will take you towards the 7 key elements on how to display a stock in the retail store. As an employee, you must be aware of the entire process of the stock display. The first one being delivery of stock. When we have to sell something, we must first have it with us. And to have it with us, we have to raise an order. The entire process of delivery of stock is how the stock comes inside the retail store. The second one is processing of incoming stock. When we have orders for a product, when it is delivered to the retail store, we need to process it. How do we place it at the correct place? Do we need to place it in the reserve area, that is either the back office, or do we place it on the display shelf? The entire process is known as processing of the incoming stock. The third element is display of stock. This is the most interesting part. How we appeal, how we lure a customer to come inside the retail store and buy our product. The entire process is known as display of stock. The fourth one is stock rotation. When we sell something, we need more stock in order to sell it again. And if the shelves are empty, we cannot sell anything. So stock rotation basically is replacing or adding more stock to the shelves inside the retail store. The fifth element being participating in stock take. It is basically the analysis of the sales throughout the year or on half-year basis. The employees working inside the retail store do a stock take. They analyze the entire purchases or sales that have been made and likewise order for new stock. That is the reordering of stock. That is the sixth element. Everything in display of stock is linked. So when we talk about reordering of stock, it means that we analyze what needs to be sold and we order for it yet again. Here we have to raise an order form. The last one is dispatching of the damaged stock. It entails two important key elements. One, once the goods are delivered in the retail store, the employees working have to check the stock. If there is a damaged product, we need to send it back to the supplier. The second one, there might be a damage while we display a stock. There might be a spoilage. There might be a break in the product. Suppose I give you here an example of the photo frame. The edge of the photo frame is broken while a display. So we need to dispatch it back. The entire process is dispatching of the damaged stock. These are the 7 key elements which we will be learning step by step. Learning of display stock. Delivery of stock. When we have to sell something inside the retail store, we need a product inside the retail store. It is a very simple process which every employee working inside the retail store needs to be aware of. When we need to sell something inside the retail store, we need products, and if we need products, we need to assess and know our requirement. The employees working in the retail store make an assessment of the products required and make a purchase order on the basis of the assessment they make. Once the order is ready, they send it to the supplier or to the company's warehouse. The supplier or the company's warehouse sends those products to the retail store. Along with that, they also send an invoice. The employees working inside the retail store are required to cross-check each and every product delivered with the products listed on the purchase order and the invoice that is received from the supplier and the company's warehouse. This entire process is the delivery of stock inside the retail store. Processing incoming goods. It's an interesting and the most important task every retail employee has to perform. So what is processing of the incoming goods? Once we have the products delivered inside our retail store, we need to process them. We need to unpack them, we need to check them, we need to validate them. There are some key rules on the entire process of how the processing of the incoming goods are done. The first being stock validation. Stock validation is basically confirming and checking the products that we have ordered for and confirming the products that we have received. So the first step in stock validation is that we need to cross-check the authenticity of the supplier. We need to check the authenticity of the products that have been delivered to the store. We need to see the condition of the products that have been delivered to the store. Once we cross-check and see that the products are in good shape, we need to raise the payment order. In order to ensure that the payment process starts, we need to again make a checklist of the things that were correct and the things that were incorrect throughout the processing and give it to the store manager. Stock receiving. Removing the goods from the packaging and placing them on the benches in the receiving bay. This process is known as stock receiving. The employees working inside the retail store are required to record the stock received either electronically or in the stock book to update the stock level in the retail store. While unpacking, ensure that you use the safety knife to open all packaging. Remember to cut away from your body to prevent accidents. Do not use your hands or your teeth to open the cartons or bags. The packaging must be disposed of in the rubbish bin or in the recycle bin as appropriate. The cartons must be immediately lined up and placed appropriately for a pickup later. Once we have unpacked the stock from here, the goods are either sent to the stock reserve area or on the display shelves. Any incorrect, damaged or out of date stock, we need to return it to the supplier or to the company warehouse from where we have received it. A complete claim form must accompany the goods on dispatch. All the goods, while we are dispatching them, must carry a ticket. We must ensure to attach a ticket in order to send them back before we place them inside the receiving bay or before we place them inside the display shelf. We have to ensure that the entire stock is completely checked. And as mentioned earlier, if there is any damage, we have to send it back to the supplier. While sending it back to the supplier or while placing it in the reserve area, we need to attach a ticket. The tickets must be attached firmly and placed on the merchandise so they can be easily located in the future. This entire process is called stock receiving. Stock pricing. Very interesting topic, right? When we have to sell something, we need the price of that product. So once we have recorded the new stock either electronically or inside the stock book, the stock needs to be priced, that is the sales price, so that it can be put on the shelves to be sold. The selling price of a product is determined by adding the markup to the cost price of the product. You may have to add the goods and service tax if this tax applies to the product that you really want to sell. After we have decided and calculated on the price of the product, we need to label the merchandise. Some stores have an individual price ticket for each item they sell. Other stores use the barcodes on the merchandise so that the price is displayed on the shelf ticket. The entire process is stock labeling. Let's talk about stock rotation. Once sold, the shelves remain empty. Replacing stock on the empty shelves is known as stock rotation. When merchandise is sold from the fixtures, it needs to be replaced with stock from the reserve. Because customers cannot buy merchandise from the reserve, so the fixtures must be filled regularly. Stock rotation means that older stock is displayed for sale before the newer stock. This ensures that the store always has a clean, fresh merchandise to sell, and therefore we maintain a very healthy and an appealing image to the customers. One must follow the FIFO system of stock rotation. That means the goods that are first into the store must be the first ones to go out of the stores. That means the goods which come first must be sold first to the customers. Check all dates before you put stock onto the fixtures or on the shelves. This process is stock rotation. Stock take. This is an important task which the employees working in the retail store must be aware of on how to do this. Stock take is the actual counting of every item of the stock inside the retail store. These figures are then compared to the store's stock book records to show a store's gross profit. Stock taking is usually done yearly and half-yearly as it is a legal taxation and audit requirement. Stock take figures are also used to determine the total value of brand or of the department store. It also helps us to identify the slow sellers and the best sellers in a product range. Stock take also helps us to provide figures for profit and loss statement. This is an analysis of the entire stock, and every employee working inside the retail store must be aware of how to do the stock take. Reordering of stock. When we sell a product, we must ensure that we reorder it in order to display it again inside the retail store. This is one task every retail employee has to perform. Sufficient stock must be on hand to supply the customer's needs. Hence, minimum stock levels should be checked regularly to maintain an adequate supply. Stock ordering is done by forecasting the sales that may happen and the time it would take for the stock to be delivered. automated systems in stores help in estimating reordering stock. As an employee, if you do not find enough stock in the shelves, speak to the manager of your store and apprise him that stock levels are running low. Sometimes stock that has been ordered does not arrive as expected. What to do when this happens? Find out why has there been a delay. Find out what happened. Check the invoice and speak to the supplier if necessary. As an employee, you must also notify staff members of the reasons for the delay so they can inform the customers if necessary. Also ensure to place a temporarily unavailable ticket on the shelf if appropriate. This entire process is known as stock reordering. Dispatching of stock. All goods that need to be sent back to the supplier must be done according to the store procedures. Identify the reason for dispatching the stock. Damaged stock, soiled stock, oversupply stock, or incorrect stock. We need to identify these reasons while the stock is being delivered to the retail store. Package goods carefully so as to avoid damage in transit. Complete a credit request form. Check that the document has been completed accurately. Ensure that the name, address, reason for return, pricing and special delivery instructions are mentioned on the package. Goods for dispatch must be held in the designated area of reserve. This will ensure that they are returned and processed promptly. This entire process is the dispatching